Let me introduce you to the person that I used to be. Most of you know me as I am now, but you have no idea the person that I was. I used to be so incredibly fearful, afraid of my own shadow. I was a worrier. Everything would cause me anxiety and cause my brain to spiral, thinking of the worst case scenario. And I convinced myself that by preparing for the worst case scenario, I was actually doing myself a favor, because if that did happen, I was prepared. And if it didn't happen, then it was just a happy surprise. I was jealous. I was insecure. I felt a lot of shame. I was too shy to talk to anyone for fear of them judging me right off the bat. I had a deep, deep wound of rejection, trauma, depression, PTSD, anxiety, fear, all of the above. And on top of that, I also had a very deep, deep need for control. If the things in my life did not go in a predictable way, I just spiraled. And then I met Jesus. I had known him since I was 8 years old, but I really, really met him. And now I'm to this point where I can confidently say that I am kind, I am loving, I am able to talk to people without that fear of rejection. I am an encourager. I am not afraid of hardly anything anymore. All of the trauma and the rejection and the anxiety has completely left my body. And I can brag about that because I'm not the one that did it. God did it, because that's what he does for each and every one of his children that come home to him. But let me tell you the thing that I think made the most difference in getting to that place. God very quickly taught me how to recognize the difference between his voice and the enemy's. And so when God would say something encouraging, like, you're going to be a leader, you're going to lead people well, and I would say, but God, that's not who I am. I'm shy. I don't even like people that much. Then he would say things like, who told you that? Who said you were shy? Who said you were not capable of being a leader? Who said that you couldn't do this? Because it wasn't me. And once I started to distinguish the difference between those two voices, my life took off like a rocket. This is why it's so important to take your thoughts captive and make them obedient to Christ. And so if you say things like, addiction runs in my family, it's just the way I'm wired, I can't escape it. Who told you that? Wasn't God, the chain breaker, who can break any of those chains. That wasn't from him. Take that thought captive. Or if you think, God must just not love me because I'm struggling to get by on my bills and I see him blessing other people, and so he must just not care that I'm poor. Bro, who told you that? Wasn't God. Because God says that you will have enough to abound in every good work. Take that thought captive. Get it out of there. Chunk it. The moment that you start to make this a daily practice, every single solitary thought that comes into your mind, you examine it and figure out where it's from, your life's going to change. And listen, if you want that, but you struggle to figure out whose voice is whose, and you just need a little help getting there, I have some resources for you. First of all, this is my book, 7 Days to a Life of Limitless. It has a whole chapter in here about how to hear God's voice. It talks about what God's voice sounds like, what the enemy's voice sounds like, how to tell if it's God or if it's your own thoughts. It's all in here. And next is the journal that goes with it. This is Go Ask God, the journal. It's got 120 questions that you can ask God to spark some important conversations, and then it's got room for you to journal your answers. Both of these are available on Amazon, but you can also get signed copies of them on my website. So if you're interested in the signed copies, just go to yourfriendcaitlin.com and check it out.